Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Business Growth Collaborative, where every month in 2026 we are talking about AI, something important for business owners to know, something that will help you navigate the murky waters of what is going on. And I'm telling you, if you haven't noticed, AI is making leaps and bounds almost on top of itself every month. Something new and exciting is happening, and sometimes scary. So today I have brought a powerful guest speaker into our midst. His name is Scott Hartley, and I just want to tell you a little bit about him. Before Scott Hartley ever wrote an email campaign, he was a 911 dispatcher hunting down wanted persons. He had a dusty drawer full of warrants and a job that came down to one skill: finding someone and then convincing them over the phone to turn themselves in willingly. His fellow cops started calling him the Warrant King. The lessons from that job never left him. The message is never the whole problem. The system underneath the message is. And whether you've earned the kind of trust it takes for someone to pick up and take action when you call. Scott has spent years since applying those same principles to email. He's the founder of Hit the Inbox, where he works as the email portfolio advisor for coaches, consultants, and professional service providers who are done treating their list as a technical problem and they're ready to build it into a compounding asset. He's helped over 350 business owners do exactly that since 2018. He wrote Hit the Inbox, the definitive guide on email marketing. Scott has shared the virtual stage with Grant Cardone, Laura Langmeyer, Kim Walsh Phillips, and many others. He's an avid student of Craig Ballantyne, Frank Kern, Dan Kennedy, and Tony Robbins. Offstage, he plays piano and loves to travel. In May of 2022, he sang at the famed Carnegie Hall in New York City with a national choir conducted by composer Pepper Choplin. Right now, Scott is tracking a shift most marketers haven't not caught yet. Artificial intelligence attacking how email gets written, delivered, and read all at once. He calls it the AI triple threat. And today he'll walk this room through exactly what challenges when a machine decides whether a message ever reaches a human being. Thank you for being here and welcome, Scott Hartley.
Excited to be here. Oh, you're muted. I think you're muted, Rita.
Yeah, I took myself off the stage. So you couldn't hear anything I was saying.
Nope.
So, welcome, Scott Hartley. We have the presentation ready, and I'm very excited to hear what you're bringing us today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So, yes, as you can see here on the screen, the AI triple threat, strangling email marketing. This title is not an exaggeration. Everything that I'm going to show you inside of the next 45 to 60 minutes is literally happening right now inside of your subscribers' inboxes. And now I'm not going to be talking about deliverability, not going to be talking about, SPF records, DMARC, DKIM, all of that stuff. That's not what AI is doing to strangle your email marketing efforts. And what I want you to walk away with today is to know how to turn each of these attacks into your biggest advantage. Because as Rita mentioned in the introduction, this is not common knowledge. And as more and more people kind of discover what AI is doing, they're going to be figuring out what hit them. But you being here today, you're already going to know what's happening and what to do about it. So first off, you're in the right place if you have an email list and you use it to generate leads, book consults, or sell programs. If that's you, stick around. If not, go enjoy the rest of the day because you really won't get anything out of the rest of the presentation. And secondly, if you've noticed your email results drifting and you're not quite sure why. So maybe you've noticed a downturn in your open rates or your click rates, or your email just doesn't seem to be getting you the results that it used to get you. Chances are you've been attacked by the AI triple threat. And so today I'm going to walk you through the triple S AI attack front. The 3 attack fronts where AI is working right now against your email marketing, whether you know it or not. Now, I've actually identified 8 total threats in my research, but here this afternoon, I only have time to share with you 3 specific threats. All right. And I'm going to give you one specific action to combat each threat. So, obviously I'd love to give you everything here together, but there's just not enough time and it would be really overwhelming. And so I've got something later that I'm going to share with you where I can help you get all of the knowledge and understand all 8 threats and what you need to actually do. But I want to start off with, imagine that you send an email on a Tuesday morning to 1,200 people. And by Thursday, you've had 14 replies, 3 consultations booked, and 2 people who said that they forwarded your email to somebody else that said, hey, you need to read this email. That's what email looks like whenever it's built on the right foundation. Now, what does that mean, that it's built on the right foundation? Well, first off, it passes the AI filters. We all know that AI is analyzing our email messages. And so that's the type of result that you can get when your emails pass AI filters. It also happens when you achieve VIP inbox placement. Did you even know that there is such a thing? That there's VIP inbox placement and then just everybody else? Believe it or not, that does exist. And when email is built on the right foundation, it becomes a relationship-oriented, revenue-generating portfolio. It's building relationships with your subscribers. It's not just an ATM machine that you go to and withdraw cash every time that something comes up. And so there's a couple of important statistics here that I really want you to pay attention to, because this is kind of the foundation of everything that I'm going to share with you this afternoon. When you do email right, when you follow the principles that I'm about to share with you today, and you understand how AI is attacking and what to do to bypass those, you're going to see 5 to 15% higher open rates. And this is a statistic from this year. You're also going to see 13 to 17% fewer unsubscribes. Now, I know that unsubscribes, that can be like a personal attack on us. So anytime that we can reduce the number of those, we feel a lot better about ourselves and about what we're doing and how we're helping people, right? So those of you who understand what I'm showing you this afternoon, you're going to have a significant, measurable advantage over the next 18 months. Not because you're a better writer, not because you've got a bigger list, but because you understand the environment that your emails are operating in. It's a totally different game. And when you apply what you're about to learn, you're going to be light years ahead of everybody else who's still trying to figure out what happened to them. So what's actually happening right now? So the email sequences that you've carefully written and that you've spaced out on the right timing and you followed all of the best guidance and everything, many times these emails are getting buried by an algorithm that decided that you're not important enough to surface in subscribers' inboxes. Now, chances are you probably don't have any idea that any of this is happening. Like your emails go out, your opens, your clicks, your replies, they look roughly normal. Maybe they're down just a little bit, but you keep on sending and the problem compounds, right? Well, part of the issue is that emails are written by AI, rewritten by AI before any human reads them. And emails are auto-archived before anybody can even see them. And this is happening day after day with email after email that you send. Here's some other statistics that I found really, really interesting of things that are happening right now, this year, in people's inboxes. 75 to 85% of Gmail users see their emails sorted by relevance, not by time. So maybe you've noticed this. If you go, especially if you go to your promo tab, if you're a Gmail user, you may notice that those emails don't appear in chronological order or reverse chronological order, the newest one on top. They start to appear by how relevant Gmail thinks that that email is to you, how you've been engaging with similar type of emails. And so your subscribers who are using Gmail and Google Workspace especially, they're not seeing your email just because you sent it. And maybe you sent it at 9:03 a.m. They're seeing what Google's AI has decided is most relevant based upon their behavior. And then, right now, this should be a shocking statistic for you. Inbox placement has dropped to just 27.63% in the last year. So if you're not in the top 3 to 5 senders, your email's practically invisible to most of your subscribers. That's the environment that we live in right now. And the problems and the challenges are compounding. They're not getting easier. They're not getting better. They're actually getting worse. And AI is strangling email marketing. Now, as Rita read in my bio, that they used to call me the Warrant King. So I was a 911 dispatcher, and it got boring sitting there, especially on the late night shifts. Think, 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. Kind of all the activity died down around 1:30 in the morning. So I still had, 5-6 hours of time that, was really hard to stay awake. Well, I'm one of those type of people that has to stay busy all the time. And so there was this dusty drawer full of warrants that sat next to all of our computer consoles. And it contained a bunch of warrants for people that nobody seemed to be able to find. And so I would hunt them down systematically. I would research every possible resource. Where did these people live? Where did they work? Who did they hang out with? What cars did they drive? So I'd find all this information, and ultimately I would find their phone number. And then I would call them on the phone. And with the right approach, I would convince them to turn themselves in. And believe it or not, most of the people did so, and they did so willingly. There were a few, of course, that I had to say, now we can do this the easy way or the hard way. But let me tell you, I know all this information about you. So even if you don't turn yourself in, yeah, I'm going to find you. So let's just make it easy. You just come knock on my door and we'll take care of it. But it's never just the message, okay? I could say all of the right things, but I could still have somebody say, no, I'm not turning myself in. It was everything working together. It was the message, the system, and the process. And if you're missing any piece of that, nothing works. And I couldn't get people to turn themselves in if I didn't have that entire thing. So email works the same way. the people who are struggling with email, if you're not making money with your email, if you're not building relationships, if you're not getting people opening, clicking, and replying, it's not necessarily that you're a bad writer. It's not necessarily that you don't have interesting content or that you don't have a way to help people. It's most likely because nobody's ever showed you what's actually running underneath of your email marketing system. So about 18 months ago, I started noticing a pattern across all of the accounts of my clients that I've been working with. Now, their open rates were holding steady. Sometimes they were improving, but even if their opens would go up, the downstream results would decline. So the number of consults that would get booked was less. People were replying less. And the revenue per subscriber, it was going down. So I was like, what is going on here? Like, they're doing all of the things right, but something's not giving the results on the back end. So I started digging. And what I found out is that it was not copywriting that was an issue. It wasn't a bad subject line. It wasn't that they were sending at the wrong time. It wasn't that they were segmenting their list incorrectly, but it was structural. Google, Microsoft, Apple, and Yahoo, the big four mailbox providers, all instituted new rules around that time. And underneath of what the rules were, a new layer of AI threats was emerging completely outside of just the big four. There's inbox management tools that route emails into auto archive. And there's a lot of other things that are going on. And of course, the big four have AI analyzing emails. And nobody in the email space has been really talking about this, especially not in a way that's actionable. So that is why I'm doing this presentation and letting you know about this today. So when I started applying what I had discovered for my clients, their results were measurable and fast. They were getting more consults booked. They were getting more sales. They were getting more enrollments in their webinars and in their programs. Now, I don't want to make specific income claims because I don't want the FTC coming after me. And that's not what today is about anyway. But the people who adapted to what AI is doing are seeing their emails perform at a level that feels almost unfair compared to everybody else. And so when 85% of your competitors are sending AI generated content, and most have no idea that Google's AI is already deciding that, that email is not worth making it to the inbox. Those of you who are senders who understand this, you have an enormous advantage. And I want you to take advantage of it. And that's why Rita asked me to share this. This is extremely urgent. You deserve to know what's happening before it costs you more than it already has. There's so many people that have no clue about all of this AI stuff that's strangling email marketing. They're trying to use AI to help with their email marketing, but they don't understand what's working against them. So I've spent 15 years inside of other people's inboxes professionally. And I've watched the whole landscape of email change faster in the last 6 months than in the previous 10 years. And so this is really urgent information. Secondly, there's a second reason. I'm building something called Ascent. And what I'm sharing with you here is just the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot more that's deeper. And everything goes deeper than strategies and tactics. Every other expert that you hear in the space of email, some of them are names that you probably know if I said them. They're giving you tactics and strategies. And if you want to keep following tactics and strategies, you're going to continue playing a losing game because there's something deeper, something underneath those tactics and strategies that is what is going to make email work for you. Tactics and strategies are always a moving target. And so I'm going to share more about Ascent here in just a little bit. But the window to adapt, mark my words, the window to adapt to all of these AI threats is shorter than most people think. So let's get into it. So I'm going to walk you through the triple S AI hijack. There are 3 attack fronts. There's actually 3 threats that we're going to cover today. The first one is at the sender layer, where you create your emails. We're going to talk about the inbox wallpaper effect. The second layer is the screener layer. So this is where Google, Microsoft, Apple, and Yahoo process your emails. And we're going to talk about the invisible rewrite. And then the third S of the triple S AI hijack is at the subscriber layer, where your prospect receives the email or their AI does. We're going to talk about the human bypass. So let's start with the sender layer. Threat number 1 is the inbox wallpaper effect. Let me ask you a question. If I pulled 3 paragraphs from your last email and removed your name and your logo and any identifying information about you or your business, and I put those 3 paragraphs next to 3 paragraphs from your competitor's email, could I tell the difference? For most people, the honest answer is no. And it's not because it's a bad writing problem, a copywriting issue. It's an AI problem. Because most people are using AI to write their content. And every email sounds identical. And the subscribers have noticed this. So Adam Ryder did some research and found that 85% of marketers use AI content tools to help them write content of some sort. Okay? And the problem is that all of this AI is trained on the same internet, the same source material, so they all produce statistically probable interchangeable output. So if you're using AI to write your emails, chances are it's going to look very similar to what your competitor is sending because they're using AI to write their emails. 52% of people reduce engagement when they know that it's AI content. 52%. So as soon as they read that opening sentence of your email and they're like, yeah, this was written by ChatGPT, they're gone. That's half of your subscribers right there. But when you write content as a real human, you take the time to write it. It keeps your readers around 2.7 times longer. I think you would agree that you want people spending time on your emails because you've got something important to share with them. Now, a 2025 SSRN study found that during a temporary ChatGPT ban, that the same business's content showed a 15% decrease in lexical similarity. What that means is when people couldn't use ChatGPT, that the emails didn't look or sound the same. But when it was reintroduced, everything started sounding identical. So, and here's something else to really consider. Most people haven't caught on to this yet. But if you're using AI to generate content and AI is being trained on the internet and your content is getting disseminated on the internet, now AI is training on its own output. And projections suggest that up to 90% of online content could be synthetically generated by the end of this year. So if AI is already kind of bad, and we know that it is in many ways, and then it's trained on more bad and more bad and more bad, what do you think is going to happen to the gross output? It's going to be horrible. So what do you do about the inbox wallpaper effect? Well, how many of you remember the old Coke versus Pepsi? Here are the vocabulary that you need to be using. Here's what you should not use. Here's the banned phrases. Here's the sentence rhythm and structure that I want. And then give it examples of this is what's on brand for me and this is not on brand for me. Don't do this stuff. And if you can give it 3 to 5 examples, it generally helps you create better output. But most importantly, use AI as an editor, not as an author. I'm not saying that AI is bad. Yes, it's strangling email marketing, but AI is not bad. But don't use it to generate content. Use it to help you edit and fine tune your content. So that's threat number one, is the inbox wallpaper effect. Threat number two, the invisible rewrite. You're probably noticing this a lot more, especially if you're a Gmail or a Microsoft user and an Apple user. All right. So the screener layer, which is what we're talking about here, is where Google, Microsoft, Apple, and Yahoo process your email before having to read the whole thing. Now, AI has a different priority than you, because AI doesn't care if somebody clicks on a link or if they reply to your email or if they go to your sales page. AI just wants to make time efficiency. And so up to 1 in 3 AI summaries that get generated for emails misrepresent what's actually in the email. 33% of the time. They don't just miss a detail, they totally screw up what that email's about. And the sad part is that you don't have any way to know in advance how any AI is going to rewrite your email. And you definitely don't have any direct control over what the rewrite's going to say. Talk about being at a huge disadvantage. When Google reads your email and they're like, okay, we're going to give a 2-sentence summary of what's actually in here, the least they could do is be right. But we know that AI screws up all the time. It has a lot of bad output. And so that's happening in at least 33% of all emails that get delivered. So there's 2 actual attacks that happen in this invisible rewrite. Attack number 1, I just mentioned it. It's the bad summary. It mangles your message. Your story-driven email becomes newsletter about mindset. Well, who wants to read that? That's not really intriguing. That doesn't spark my interest. So it can have a bad summary. The second attack is that it's got too good of a summary and it kills the click. So maybe AI gets the main point of your email right, and the subscriber's like, oh, this is really good stuff, but they don't actually read your email and they definitely don't make it to the bottom. And so then they don't click to go over and register for your webinar, or they don't click to go to your sales page or to read your blog post. So both a bad summary and a good summary are bad things unless you know how to sidestep this threat. And the fixes for these 2 attacks are completely different. That's why it's harder than it looks, especially on this particular threat. And not every email is currently getting summarized, but I'm seeing more and more of them every single day. Now, this is what's really interesting. BuzzStream did an analysis of 628 AI email summaries on 3 different platforms. Okay. So Gmail, using Gemini, they typically have about 29 words in the summary, a very short summary. They misrepresent what's in the actual email by 11%. Not too bad, but not a great summary length either. Apple, using Apple Intelligence, their email summary is a little bit longer. It's about 50 words. Fairly decent size. Putting your call to action. Put a TLDR at the top of the email. TLDR stands for too long, didn't read. Put your summary at the very beginning in that very first paragraph. 82 to 87% of the summaries pull from the first half of your email. So you want to put that at the very top, right there at the beginning. Here's what this email is about. And you're going to have a better chance of AI interpreting it correctly. And if you put in there, here's what I want you to do as a result of this email, that's probably going to make it into the summary as well. Secondly, most people don't think about this. Use bullet points in your email. Use them deliberately. Most of the time when we write an email, it's paragraph after paragraph after paragraph. Bullet points make it into 62 to as many as 94% of AI summaries. That's huge. So if you can put bullet points in the first half of your email and you give a good summary of your own, chances are the invisible rewrite is not going to damage you much. You'll be able to sidestep this threat. Okay. And a third action item that you can take is you can test your summary before you send. So if you want to read just the first 2 sentences of your email, you can even throw that into Claude or Chat GPT, and you could use that to say, hey, what's the likelihood of Google creating a summary of this? What would it be? And it will tell you kind of an idea. It can give you a hint as to what that would be. So here in the last 25 minutes, we've talked about 2 threats so far: the inbox wallpaper effect and the invisible rewrite. I've given you 4 actions, at least, for how to sidestep those threats. But remember, I said at the very beginning, these tactics and these strategies, they're an ever-moving target. So the stuff that I've just shared with you, and I have one more threat that I'm going to share with you here in just a little bit, the action steps that I'm going to give you, they'll work for a period of time, but they're going to change because AI threats are going to change. They're going to evolve. And so here's what's underneath all of this stuff. There is an underlying operating system that affects your email marketing. And this operating system is your business success. If you're struggling in business right now, if you're not getting clients like you need to, if you're not making the revenue that you want to be making, if your business isn't giving you the lifestyle that you hoped for, you have an operating system problem. And that same operating system can dramatically improve your business and improve your email marketing. Has nothing to do with subject lines, segmenting your list, DNS records, which marketing platform that you're sending emails from. Has nothing to do with all of that. And every threat that I just walked you through attacks a tactic. So the inbox wallpaper effect, the invisible rewrite, like all of that is going to change and how to handle those. And the tactics were built to work inside somebody else's system: Google, Microsoft, Apple, and Yahoo. But here's the thing. The operating system underneath all of this doesn't get attacked. There's nothing for the next AI shift to exploit. Tactics play defense. The operating system simply runs. And everything else runs on top of that operating system. And here's the thing. Nobody's probably showed you that the operating system exists. You have an operating system running in your business right now, probably invisibly behind the scenes. But if you don't have the business that you want, you've got the wrong operating system installed, and it needs to be swapped out. And the operating system that you do have installed right now determines if you have an email list that is decaying, or if you are building and managing an email portfolio that generates revenue in relationships. The operating system does not get attacked. So real quick, there are 4 moments that every email list moves through. And ideally, you want to build it backwards from the relationship that you want at the end. The first one is trust. The moment somebody finds you, they're asking one question. Whether they say this out loud or not, they're saying, is this different, or is it the same promise that I've heard from 12 other people? Can I trust you? This isn't just the kind that you perform. This is the kind of trust that you earn by being right about what happens next, over and over and over, until people no longer question you. Do you have that kind of trust in your email list? There's also the moment that people join your list. So the moment they join your list, what happens in the first few weeks decides whether your subscribers stay engaged or they just go cold. And it's not giving them more welcome content. It's actually taking the right next action. Are you doing that? The third moment is when they've been around a while. They've been subscribed to your list. They've gotten a bunch of emails. The moment where they've been around a while is almost where every sender, every marketer loses people, and they don't know why. But there's a seasonal rhythm. Content that you send in March works like gangbusters, but if you send that same content in October, it's going to fall flat on its face. And people are going to stop responding. You have to know when throughout the year is the right time to send what type of message. That's part of the operating system. If you don't know the seasonal rhythm, you're working at a huge disadvantage. You're just hoping and praying that what you're sending out resonates. And the fourth moment is that people refer you without being asked. That's not luck. This is the fourth moment. And you have to figure out, how do you move people without pressure? How do you get the idea so good that it makes them feel like it was their idea? There's a specific way to actually do this. Now, the part that nobody does is building this backward. You start from the fourth moment, the one at the bottom, the referral component, the relationship that you want at the end, and then you work it backwards all the way to the first. Most everybody that I know, every list that I've worked on, they've built forward from the sale. How do I get somebody to buy? How do I get somebody to buy? That's why they have a list that decays, and they're so worried about getting more and more people onto their list instead of having a portfolio that compounds, even though it's relatively small. So that's the reason that the sender who has installed this operating system comes through every single one of these attacks, these threats, mostly intact. But the people who don't have this operating system installed, I guarantee it, in 18 months, if you don't have this operating system installed, you're not going to have success with email. You might as well stop sending email. Now, AI did not create that gap. It's making it visible, and the consequences are coming. They've started, and they're going to get worse. Now, I've been buried in this for the last 3 months. I've been studying it. I've been changing the way that I've been doing my own email marketing, and I've been bringing this to my clients. And I couldn't stop asking myself, it's like, okay, how do I put this together so that I can give this knowledge and this insight to the people who need it the most? So I put together this program called Ascent. Now, I didn't invent this operating system. I've been learning this from a mentor that almost nobody in the industry's heard of, but he's spent decades applying this to business growth in general. And now I'm taking this and putting it into the email realm. And so I'm building a room to teach this. It's a working room, and it's run over a length of time that actually installing this requires. It's not a 30-day thing. It's not do this one thing and you're good. It's actually a process. And so let me tell you right now, Ascent is for you if you have an email list and you regularly send to it. If you're just getting started, it's probably not the right fit. It's for you if you're done with the basics and you're done with fundamentals only, if you're done with tactics and strategies. If you want to be told when something is wrong, not just giving this rah, rah, hey, go, put in your best effort. I'm going to give you the real truth that you need to hear. If you're easily offended, Ascent is not for you. And if you want to build an infrastructure and not chase a quick fix, if you're just looking for that magic silver bullet that doesn't exist, but if you want to keep searching for it, go ahead. But if you want to build this the right way and you want to have your business serve you instead of you serving your business, Ascent may be the right thing for you. Ascent's not for you if you don't have a list, if you're just looking for a course to consume passively, if you expect a turnaround in 30 days or less, and more importantly, if you're unwilling to change your thinking or your actions, like Ascent is not for you. If you're stubborn and stuck in your ways, you won't install the operating system. Now, the Ascent is by application only, okay? So application is open right now. The Ascent application, there's only going to be 75 members maximum inside of Ascent. And once you leave, you can't return. So if you stick around for 2 months and you decide, okay, I've had enough, great. We'll wish you the best. But don't come back in 3 months asking to be let back in, because you won't be allowed. It's you need everything that we're delivering. The first 20 get accepted at the founding rate, and it's locked in for as long as you stay enrolled. It's $200 a month for the first 20 people. So the rate will go up after the first 20. It'll go up to $300 a month. Stay as long as you want. But just remember, once you leave, you can't return. And so here is the website where you can apply to be on the wait list. Hit the inbox.email/Ascent-waitlist. Hit the inbox.email/Ascent-waitlist. So fill that out. I'll review it. And if it looks like you might be a good fit, I'll invite you to a quick 15-minute call. We'll discuss it, and then you get to make a decision. If I offer a founding spot to you, then you get to make the decision if you would like to take advantage of that. So now, before we wrap up, I want to give you the third threat. This is at the subscriber layer, all right? The human bypass. This is what happens after your email arrives, okay? And I think that this most fundamentally changes the nature of email marketing going forward. You may be surprised at this. Most people, the average professional, receives 121 emails a day. I know I receive at least that, if not more. 76% of that is classified as noise by AI tools. 76%. So 92 out of 121 emails are basically unwanted junk. That's not a new problem. We know there's a bunch of junk mail out there. But what is new is how people are solving it. 82% of professionals are now using at least one AI email filtering feature. And I've got 4 of them listed here. You may have heard of some of them. Unroll.me. That's a free service, by the way. SaneBox, $7 a month. Superhuman, Alfred, executive assistant. These are affordable solutions. And when people have said, I've had enough of junk mail and I don't want to manually go through all of this email that's in my inbox, I'm going to use AI to go through my emails for me. That's cheap or free. Guess what? You and I have a problem, because now it's not Google, Microsoft, Apple, and Yahoo saying, are you making it to the inbox? It's not a human seeing your email and deleting it. It's AI throwing your email away before it even has a chance. The AI inbox management market, these tools right here, is expected to go from $2.4 billion in revenue in 2025 to $9.1 billion by 2034, in just 8 years from now. That's a lot of people paying $7 a month to let AI triage their emails. Adoption is projected to go up to 50% in just 4 years. The human bypass is a real thing. So what do you need to do? You need to write emails that AI triages as personal, not marketing. So you now kind of have to write your emails for AI and for your human. Okay? So what you need to do immediately with your first emails, you need to ask that subscriber to whitelist your email address and reply to it. An open's not enough. A click is not enough. You need to get them to whitelist and reply. Because if you can get somebody to reply, AI says, oh, this was a wanted message. I think I should probably continue delivering these to the inbox. That's one tactic that you can use for now that will allow you to bypass the human bypass. The second thing is write emails that read like personal correspondence. Write them in plain text. Your topic, you have one topic in an email. You have one call to action. What's the one thing that you want to share? What's the one action that you want them to take? I just read a study yesterday. I don't remember the exact number, but newsletters that have multiple articles and multiple links in those newsletter emails, like most realtors and business professionals send out, those are having the worst performance ever. Why? Well, people don't like to have 50 articles in an email. And AI is triaging, and if it looks like marketing, they're saying, just throw it into the junk folder. Write emails like you personally wrote it, a one-to-one email. And then number 3, use the one person, one message structure every single time. When you're sitting down to write an email, how would I write that email if I were writing to Rita? And I've got Rita on my mind as I'm writing this message. When you use that structure, it now comes across as more personal. And then, of course, AI is going to interpret that as more personal as well. So those are the 3 threats. You have the inbox wallpaper effect. If you're using AI to generate your emails, you're looking like everybody else. Number 2, you have what we are calling the invisible rewrite, where AI, Google, Microsoft, Apple, and Yahoo are creating summaries of your emails that are probably causing you to not get people reading them, let alone taking action. And then you have the human bypass, where it's reading your email saying, marketing, they don't want it. Don't deliver it to the inbox. Keep their inbox clean. These are the action steps that you need to take. And if you want to learn more about how to actually battle this, not with tactics and strategies that are going to change next week, next month, next year, but with an operating system that's going to totally transform your email marketing and totally transform your business, then I encourage you to apply for the Founder Circle for the Ascent program. Remember, 75 members maximum. The first 20, you get in at $200 a month. And then the URL is there on your screen if you want to apply. So Rita, that's what I've got to share with your audience this afternoon.
Wowza. Well, I'm going to leave this up here so people can grab that. I'm also typing it into a comment here for the website that you need to go to when you decide you definitely want to be part of Scott's Ascent program. I've already applied. So maybe I'll be the first one. But the information that you brought today, Scott, was phenomenal. And there are really 8 and you only presented 3, is that correct?
Yeah, I only had time to present 3 today. I've uncovered 8 threats, AI threats that are actively, happening right now. There's just so much that's evolving and changing in the world of email.
Unbelievable. And the twists and turns that I went through emotionally and in intellectually during your presentation were phenomenal. For example, we ended with write for a specific human being, but right before that we realized we have to write for AI and a human being.
Yeah,
So it sounds even trickier, I guess. Trickier is a word that
yeah,
we could use. I'm gonna just put the two of us up here. So and I know so many people don't feel the confidence to say, I am going to sit down and write an email, or I'm going to sit down and write a series of emails, my nurture sequence. I'm going to write
hmm
15 or 20 of them and have them go out dripping, right?
yep,
And they just feel like that is absolutely a horrendous thought to sit
yep.
down and try to do that. And so when someone's in a program with you, do you help them with that, what to say and how to structure the emails and the subject lines?
Yeah, in the Ascent program, we are going to go through, really kind of like how to build an email series, whether it's for a nurture campaign, whether it's going to be for a launch or whatever it's going to be for. There's different types of emails that you may have, welcome series and all that type of stuff. Um, what's the what's the underlying operating system way to build those? Yes, there are certain tactics and strategies that you use on top of that, but when you build the foundation the right way, the tactics and strategies don't matter all that much, because the foundation is what carries the weight. And so knowing what to put into an email, when to put it into an email, and what even touches it. So like with a welcome series, for example, it's not just what's in that first email or in that series of 3 to 5 emails. It's even on your opt-in page and it's on your thank you page. All of that plays together. That's part of that underlying operating system.
Well, and since you mentioned those two, is it because we're hearing that AI is pulling, looking at your Google business profile, your website, and making assumptions about who you are based on how you appear in all these different places? Is that also feeding into this way that your emails are being processed as well?
Yeah, I mean, everything that Google, Microsoft, Apple, and Yahoo know about you and your business, like they've got more information on any of us than we even
Hmm.
have on ourselves, right?
I,
And they've got
I,
better ways to process that. So they can look
mhm,
at thousands of data points and use that to make decisions that the normal human just can't do, because we can
mhm.
look at, like, here's the 3 things and that's what I use to decide. And so all of that definitely has an effect, on everything. But there's, even a layer, and I'll just kind of tease this, but, trust equity is something that's missing in most emails. If people don't trust you, they're not going to do business with you and they're not
Right.
going to engage with your emails. And there's a very specific way to build trust equity.
Okay.
And we cover that in the Ascent program.
I am telling you, I am so impressed with this I feel like I'm going to watch it over again, maybe 2 more times because
There's a lot
there's
here.
so
There really
much
is. So,
in here.
yeah,
And again, folks, he only had time to present 3 threats and there are really 8. So
yeah,
you need to be paying attention to this man. I've put your website in here into the chat a few times, into the comments. And of course, it is going to be in the description for this replay. Thank you so much for being here, Scott. I am
absolutely.
looking forward to the next time that you can come and speak to our viewers here.
Absolutely. I appreciate it.
All right, everybody, take care. See you next month.